With the backing of CIA, of course. The organization you wanted to join back in the day, as I understand. We should thank God they didn't let you in. Although, it is a serious organization. I understand.
That was part of Russian President Vladimir Putin's 2-hour lecture to confused-faced journalist Tucker Carlson, journalist being in scare quotes. And one of the few things that he said that wasn't propaganda or a lie. For his part, for his latest journalistic enterprise, the former Fox host, conspiracy theorist, and avowed critic of Ukraine traveled all the way to Russia for that interview, where he barely got a word in edgewise and let the Russian dictator filibuster on everything, lying about Russian history, European politics, and NATO. On Wednesday, Putin leaned even harder into mocking Tucker than just making fun of his failed CIA dreams to his face. Putin told Russian media that he was surprised by how soft the interview was. Quote, I honestly thought it would be aggressive and he would ask so-called sharp questions. And I wasn't just ready for that. I wanted it because it would have given me the opportunity to respond sharply in kind. But he chose a different tactic. It's worth noting that Tucker's sit-down with the Russian dictator was released last week on Thursday, days before Donald Trump said he'd let Russia do whatever the hell they want to NATO countries that didn't pay enough for their own defense. Trump doubled down on that last night.
One of the heads of the country stood up and said, does that mean that if we don't pay the bills, that you're not going to protect us? I said, that's exactly what it means, exactly. I'm not going to protect you.
Meanwhile, Trump's sycophants in the House Republican caucus continue to prove that they, too, are owned by Trump and too petrified of him to do their job and provide aid to Ukraine, which is still very much at war with Russia. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson refused to bring up the foreign aid package passed by the Senate earlier this week, and the House is going on recess today until the end of the month. So, no urgency, even as one senior Republican ignited a freakout over Russia's military capabilities on Wednesday. House Intel Chair Mike Turner released a cryptic statement warning of a, quote, serious national security threat without any more detail. NBC News has learned the unspecified threat that set off speculation is a Russian nuclear-powered space asset that could be weaponized. Joining me now is Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, it is good to have you on. And so I guess the question would be, if Russia were to weaponize that space asset, that unspecified space asset, which side would Mike Johnson and his caucus be on? Ours or theirs?
Joy, these guys are soft on Russia, and they're soft on terrorism. They're soft on dictators. And if you're Taiwan, you should also wonder if all this bluster and all this talk that they've put out there that they're going to be tough on China will really amount to anything. And they've not proven that that's the case. And so, of course, I was briefed on a concerning threat. I can't go into the threat, but I get briefed on concerning threats all the time. And the most concerning threat that Republicans should be focused on is walking away from Ukraine and what it would mean for the Ukrainians, our NATO allies, and then us here in the United States, because it costs no American blood right now for what we're doing to defend Ukraine. But it's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive and what it's going to cost us in lives if we walk away from Ukraine, as the Republicans are allowing to happen.
What is going on? I mean, I understand they love Russia because Donald Trump loves Russia, and they love whatever he loves. They like whatever he likes. They hate whatever he hates. So they hate Ukraine because he hates Ukraine, because Ukraine wouldn't play ball and help him fake a scandal against Joe Biden. I get that. But, I mean, the Republican Party used to be, pretty squarely anti-Soviet when Russia was part of the Soviet Union. I still am old enough to remember Ronald Reagan with his, tear down this wall about the Eastern Bloc and against the Russian, bloc. I don't understand how they morphed from this party that was Reagan's party that stood strong against the USSR to this. Is it just because they like Trump or scared of him?
That's right. I was raised, Joy, by Reagan Republicans. And my parents, they wanted their taxes to be low. They wanted their government to be small, and they wanted us to be strong in the world and stand up to Russia. And they don't recognize this party today. But when you talk to many of my colleagues, what it is they have gone all in for Donald Trump. And they're in this position now, and they've told me this privately, where they can't go against him. One of them said, if I come out against Trump, I'll have my head lopped off. And just imagine how small they see themselves and how helpless they feel when they look at him. And so we can't count on Republicans to save us one bit. They're not going to save us. They are all in for him. The Republican Party that my parents were a part of is gone today, and it's never coming back as long as Donald Trump is the leader of their party. And so that's why Democrats are the ones who are tough on Russia. That's why Democrats are the ones, especially through Joe Biden, who wants to close the border while Republicans and Donald Trump are focused on closing abortion clinics, right? I mean, this is never a place we thought we'd be, but we are the ones, I think, who are standing up for security interests everywhere of Americans.
But I think the pragmatic question then is, if Donald Trump becomes president and he does as he's threatening to do, stops defending NATO, and Russia invades a NATO country, do these Republicans stand literally with Putin? Because it seems that Donald Trump would. Are they now going to stand with Putin if he invades a NATO ally?
This is a pro-Putin bloc party right now. So yes, Joy, there's no question in my mind as to who they would stand with. It's a very simple calculation. Donald Trump likes Putin because Putin likes Donald Trump. So we in Congress have to like Putin, and they're never going to break away from that. We just have to beat them. The good news is we have beaten them since November 2016. That was Donald Trump's best day. We continue to beat them. We don't have to draw up a new playbook for what's going to come at us this coming November. And so I'm very confident that the American people are going to reject somebody who would, dismantle all of our freedoms and allow us to side, with a ruthless dictator like Vladimir Putin.
And very quickly, I mean, we've talked about your parents before. My father leaned the same direction as them. How many of those voters do you think are in the Republican Party who are willing to not vote Republican? Because it is a habit. People just vote by habit. Because a lot of these people who feel the way your parents do are still voting for Republicans.
They are. And Joy, I still believe, though, that the Republican Party and Donald Trump have a ceiling. And it's a loud group. It's a loud base. But it should not be confused as a growing movement. And so, again, for Americans, I think this election, we don't make it about, one candidate versus another. It's about an idea, and that idea is freedom. And we win when freedom is on the ballot. Freedom for women to make choices about their bodies, freedom for our democracy and other democracies across the world. That's a winning message.
Yeah. Congressman Eric Swalwell, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Willie.
Sir, come on, what is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah. I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so damn caught on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They will defeat an our world, and we will defeat them here.
This
was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark. General,